All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we have a New York Knicks video because I feel like some of their moves outside of Knicks fans, they have people scratching their heads. I was watching ESPN today, and that Brian Windhorst guy, the LeBron writer, he was kind of knocking the Knicks free agency moves, and I'm like, dude, I don't think they've done bad at all. So today we're going to talk about the Knicks and how they finally don't suck. Knicks fans, I'm sorry, it is a joke. You guys just had a phenomenal season. The Knicks just had a phenomenal season, all right? They made some great moves. They traded for Derrick Rose. They made some good moves last season. They exceeded expectations. And now I don't know what the media was expecting them to do. They just had a great season. What are they going to blow it up? I mean, there's not really many free agents out there right now that, outside of like Chris Paul and Kawhi Leonard, that I think could take any team to the next level. Like the Bulls, they went out, they got Lonzo, they got DeRozan, but I still don't think that makes them championship contenders. I still think they're several moves away. We got to see how the team plays. The Knicks, on the other hand, they're riding that momentum. And they made some good moves. They re-signed Derrick Rose. I don't think that they overpaid him. Derrick Rose was huge for them last year. Derrick Rose, I mean, he's not that old. 32 years old. He's still got gas left in the tank. Before I expand on more, I think every move that the Knicks made in the offseason so far, I think it's super low risk because all of them are tradable. Like, we'll talk about them, but I mean, Derrick Rose, Evan Fournier, Alec Burks, Nerlens Noel, like all of those guys have value in the NBA. That's why they're back on the Knicks. The Knicks see the value that they provided them with. I really like Evan Fournier. We'll talk about that here in a second because the contract is pretty solid as well. But if you're enjoying this video and you wouldn't mind hitting that like button or hitting that sub button, it means a lot to me. I post these types of NBA videos every single day. I know you guys would like it. So looking at this roster next season, I still think they need to get a point guard. I think the point guard situation, they'll always have Frank and Elfrid Payton as backups. Those guys should, as far as I'm concerned, or they at least have some days that those are like worst case plans. I just don't think Derrick Rose is a starting point guard, maybe in the playoffs, but you don't, at his age, with his injury history, you don't want to rush anything. You don't want to force it. You just don't want to overwork Derrick Rose. And so I think Derrick Rose, I mean, he was in contention for the Sixth Man of the Year award. I think that's what you do with him. You just throw him in the six-man role. He still gets his minutes, stays healthy, everybody wins. Now, what I think, getting Evan Fournier especially, that was a great signing in my move. I know it's weird, he said he wanted to, I think France just won, right? So I think France just won, and it might have been today because of, it was technically yesterday, but it's still today and for us. He said he wanted to play for Boston, but I guess Boston just didn't have any interest in him, so they decided to let him walk, and he is now a New York Knick. They got him for a relatively solid contract. Evan Fournier will probably he'll give you 15 a night easily. He'll give you 15 a night very easily. So I really like the Evan Fournier pick. The main reason is Julius Randle, I don't think is going to get, this season's going to be different. He's not going to be getting double-teamed and triple-teamed. The Knicks, they have options, and other teams, whether or not they know that or are ready for it, the Knicks have enough scorers on that team to make sure that Julius Randle, I don't think he'll be getting, he was getting triple-teamed at times last year. I don't think that'll be happening quite often anymore at all. So you've got RJ, you've got Julius Randle. The point guard situation's interesting. This is really interesting. As I record this video, I believe Dennis Schroeder is still out there and Reggie Jackson's still out there. And with the Knicks, they have so much cap space that you don't really want to hinder your future for just signing, a average player to fit a position you need. And so if the Knicks aren't sold on Dennis Schroeder, and it's really tough, man. I for the Knicks' sake, I wish they got a guy like Kyle Lowry. I'm a Bulls fan, so I wish they didn't get Lonzo Ball. But for the Knicks fans, if they got a guy like Lonzo, if they got a guy like Kyle Lowry, I guess the Dame Sweepstakes are still out there. So, if the Knicks get Dame, I mean, it's time to worry about that team for sure. Like, that's a legit squad they've got. But for the meantime, I mean, you've got Reggie, you've got Dennis Schroeder out there, but the Knicks have a lot of cap space. You don't want to overpay for average players. I think getting Burks back, I think getting Noel, maybe Noel was a slight overpay. However, not really. Not really. No, Nerlens Noel, they got him back at a good price, in my opinion. He's a good basketball player, and he's good for this squad. Maybe they try and trade Mitchell Robinson for a guard. However, I think Mitchell Robinson might actually get traded for Miles Turner. Like, that might actually happen. And if the Knicks can find a way to get Miles Turner on this squad, that's such a step up. It's just such an improvement. I mean, defensively, he's an absolute menace out there. I mean, that guy blocks anything in his wheelhouse. So you can't count that out. It'd be cool because if the Knicks had already got, say they even got Dame, say the Knicks had gotten Dame, you can still sign Reggie Jackson or Dennis Schroeder to a short contract to come off the bench. I think that's what Reggie Jackson and Dennis Schroeder are best suited for. There's more options out there. There's guys like Avery Bradley. I don't think the Knicks will have interest in him. I mean, Victor Oladipo. I covered a lot of the Houston Rockets last season, and Victor Oladipo, he didn't do anything for me. I thought he was pretty. I don't think he was good one bit. I don't think the Heat have re-signed him, right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's a free agent. So it's getting down. The big names are getting down there. DeRozan got picked up by the Bulls a couple hours ago. So Reggie Jackson, Dennis Schroeder. If I had to pick, man, it's tough because I don't. Reggie Jackson had a good playoff performance, which is why we're talking about him, and Dennis Schroeder had a bad playoff performance, which is why we're talking about him. I mean, if these guys were first pick, they would have been signed by now. So Dennis Schroeder, Reggie Jackson, there's a risk to both of them. Reggie Jackson might be the better suit as far as less of a risk because he should be less money than Dennis Schroeder. Dennis Schroeder is probably going to get around $20 million a year. He might even get 25. Who knows what Dennis Schroeder is going to get? But they might pay him a pretty penny in the offseason. So that's why Reggie Jackson, you might be able to get him for not 4 years. You might be able to get him for a year. You might be able to get him for 2 years with the team option. You never know. Something where it's still pretty risky, but it's a little bit less risky. Dennis Schroeder is a pretty high-risk player. I mean, he was a sixth man until last season, and in his first season with the Lakers, he didn't really excite. I would say that season might have been a wash for the Lakers, though, or maybe not the whole season, but Schroeder played barely any games in the regular season with AD and LeBron both out there on the court. Barely any of the Lakers guys played together on the court. So maybe that has a reason for it. Maybe that has a reason for the chemistry issues. I think the Suns were just a way better team. But the Nets, I don't understand why they're getting some backlash. I just really don't understand it. It's not like they've gone out and broke the bank. They haven't broken anything. I would be concerned if they went out and they completely broke the bank and they started just overpaying for all these players that weren't a part of their team for the long run. They've kept their core. They've kept the players that they want to win with that are winners. They got rid of the extra baggage. They got rid of the players that just weren't going to help them win. And what more can you do? This team wasn't supposed to be, what were they, the 4th seed in the East, 5th seed in the East? They weren't supposed to even be in the playoffs. So what are you supposed to do the next season? It's going to be hard to exceed expectations after, the pressure, I feel like, that's kind of on this squad right now. But they should improve. They're bringing back essentially their same exact team with some proper modifications. I honestly think Evan Fournier is going to be one of the low-key best pickups of free agency. I don't think that the Boston Celtics utilized him properly at all. I don't think the Boston Celtics even knew what they were doing last season. I don't know if the Boston Celtics have known what they've been doing the last 10 seasons. All I know is that Evan Fournier he's going to create enough attention. He's going to get enough attention on himself to make sure that, Julius Randle isn't getting double teamed every single time he touches the ball. So can't leave these shooters open. Alec Burks, I thought, was just a huge addition as well. This Knicks team's going to be good. This Knicks team's going to be good. I think they'll make the playoffs. What's tough is the Eastern Conference it's tricky right now, especially because free agency isn't over. So you've got the Bulls just made a bunch of moves. They got Caruso, they got Ball, and they got DeMar DeRozan today. So it's like they could be in the running. The Miami Heat picked up PJ Tucker, Kyle Lowry, so they're looking good. The Nets are probably going to be a little bit more healthy. You've got the Bucks clearly. There's Philly. Philly got Drummond. There's a lot of action going on in this. The Hawks. How could I even forget about the Atlanta Hawks? There's a ton of moves going on. But the Knicks fans, nothing to worry about. Trust the process. You guys did good. You didn't mess anything up long term. You didn't, there's all of this is with it. Honestly, they've done a great job. That's all I really have to say. They've done a great job, Knicks fans. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you want more Knicks content, if you want more NBA content, go ahead, hit that sub button, hit that like button. It's greatly appreciated. If you have any Knicks recommendations, go ahead, drop it down below. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video and have a great day. Peace.